This is the introduction to functions, section 1.8. What we're going to be seeing today is a lot of graphing. So we're going to be talking about the beginnings of functions. So one of the vocab words that you need to realize is coordinate plane. So it's a plane set up with quadrants. You need to know the different names of the quadrants. If you go counterclockwise, you could come up with the names quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. The other parts of the coordinate plane are the x-axis, which is the line that runs left to right, and the y-axis, the one that runs up and down. The next one we're going to talk about is ordered pair. An ordered pair is always x, comma, y. So you're going to be graphing ordered pairs. 3, 5. -2, 6. All those are ordered pairs. A specific ordered pair that you need to know is the origin, and the origin is the point 0, 0. So the first thing I'm going to do is talk about just graphing single points. When you graph each of the points, it's always x, then y. So you need to travel on the x-axis first, and then the y-axis. So this first part says we're going to graph -2, 6. So we're going to go on the x, -2, and then on the y, 6. I like to say you take the train, then take the plane. I don't know, the train travels right and left, and then the plane goes up and down. So I'm going to go ahead and put B with this ordered pair. Number 2 says I'm going to graph -1, -3. Well, here's -1 on the x, and then -3 on the y, and I'll go ahead and put a D on that point. Number 3 says 4, so on the x, go out to the 4, and then -7. -7 is down here. I'll put a G on that point. This is the ones with 0 that people get confused, but this is on the x, and this is on the y, so we're going nowhere on the y, but we're going -5 on the x. So here's -5, 0, and that is H. The other thing that we can do is we could be given the points and we're supposed to name them. So this red dot right here, let's go ahead and name it. It looks like I'm going on the x 1, 2, 3, so I'll write 3, comma, and then the y-axis 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 on the y. This green dot right here, on the x-axis I'm going out -4, and then on the y-axis I'm going down -1. The next point I'll look at is the orange one. So it's going out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -5 on the x. On the y I'm going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 on the y. The next point let's look at is the yellow point. This one I'm going on the x, 5, and I didn't travel anywhere up or down, so that's a 0. The purple dot, I am going out 1, 2, 3, and then on the y-axis I'm going down -5. And then my last dot here, the blue dot, I didn't go anywhere on the x-axis, so that's a 0, but I went down -6. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to graph functions. Right here is a function, y equals 3x. Now what you can do in order to graph the function is you can make a table. You can make an expanded table like this, or just simply make a t-chart, which is how I prefer to do it. And I'm going to do the t-chart here, and I'll show you the expanded table at least once. On the t-chart, you can just place these values for your x. So you can put -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And you can see I already did that on the expanded chart. What you're really doing is you're finding the y value. On this simple chart, I'm just doing it all in my head. So I'm saying I'm going to put -2 in for x. What is 3 times -2? And I'd say -6. Then I'd plug in -1. What's 3 times -1? Which is -3. Then I plug in 0. What's 3 times 0? Which is 0. Plug in 1. What is 3 times 1? Well, that's 3. Plug in 2. 3 times 2 is 6. Here's my ordered pairs. The expanded form, I think, gets a little confusing, but it does allow you to write things out. You have 3, put in the negative 2, which is negative 2. This is exactly what I was doing in my head. I was plugging a negative 2 in for x. Then I go 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Notice my negative 2 and my negative 6 are right here on my t-chart. Then, in the expanded form, you would write them together, negative 2, negative 6. But on the other shorter chart, they're already right together. That's why I prefer this one. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. And so that's a negative 1, negative 3. Notice how that's the next line. Plug in 0. 3 times 0. 3 times 0 is 0. Notice how that's 0, 0 on the third line. Plug in 1. 3 times 1 is 3. That's the fourth line, 1, 3. The next one, plug in 2. 3 times 2 is 6. 2, 6. That's the fifth line. This way is a lot easier, or a lot less writing anyways. So we're going to go negative 2, negative 6. There's the first dot. The next one says negative 1, negative 3. The next one gives you 0, 0, 1, 3, and 2, 6. You can connect those all together with a line, and we'll finish up a couple more examples in the next video.